You know, Isabella, it's really fascinating how manipulators often have this uncanny ability to spot certain personality types from a mile away. They're not just randomly choosing, there's a pattern there.
Oh, for sure, Sophia. It's like sometimes I think about people who are just naturally kind, always putting others first, always trying to see the best in everyone. Those are often the ones who end up in these really confusing, draining situations, and they don't even see it coming, do they?
Exactly. And that's our first hook, really. If you're the type of person who consistently prioritizes others' needs, perhaps you're like a natural empath. You're more susceptible to what we call emotional exploitation. Manipulators, they're masters at identifying individuals with high empathy, a strong sense of responsibility, and often a tendency towards self-blame. They see that as an open invitation, for their tactics. It's less about malice and more about efficiency for them. They're looking for the path of least resistance.
Wow. So it's not that we're weak. It's that our strengths, our kindness, our desire to help, those are actually what they're latching onto. That's a tough pill to swallow sometimes because you think you're doing good, right? And then suddenly you're just like tangled up in someone else's drama and it's always your fault or you feel like it is.
Precisely. Once they've identified a target, they quickly deploy a range of tactics. The most pervasive one, probably, is gaslighting. It's an insidious form of psychological manipulation where they make you question your own sanity, your memories, your perception of reality, really. They'll casually say things like, "That never happened," or "You're just too sensitive," or even "You're imagining things." This slowly chips away at your self-trust, leaving you vulnerable and reliant on their version of events,
Oh, that feeling of like, did I really say that? Or am I actually going crazy? It's so disorienting. I've heard friends talk about it and it sounds truly awful, like living in a constant fog. What are some of the other common plays they make besides just gaslighting people like that?
Well, beyond gaslighting, there's also persistent guilt tripping. They expertly exploit your innate sense of obligation, making you feel perpetually responsible for their feelings or circumstances. They might very directly say, "If you truly cared, you'd do X," or "Look what you made me do." Then there's playing the victim. They'll consistently portray themselves as the one who's been wronged, even when they are the aggressor, expertly shifting all blame and garnering sympathy. It's a very clever way to avoid accountability and to effectively manipulate your empathy. They're always the poor, misunderstood one. The thing is, Isabella, these tactics aren't just isolated incidents. They accumulate. Over time, this constant barrage of gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and victim playing creates what we call cognitive dissonance. Your internal reality clashes with what the manipulator is telling you. It's like your brain tries to resolve that conflict, and often it resolves it by accepting the manipulator's narrative because it's just too exhausting to constantly fight it. This is why people start to feel like they're losing their mind, or they stop trusting their own judgment.
That makes so much sense. Because I've seen people or heard stories where they just feel utterly drained, right? Like their energy is just gone. And then they start apologizing for things they didn't even do. Or they try so hard to make the other person happy, thinking if they just try harder, things will get better. But it never does it? It just gets worse, and they feel smaller and smaller.
No, it absolutely doesn't get better. Because the manipulator feeds off that energy. They thrive on that control. The emotional toll is profound. Anxiety, depression, a severe erosion of self-worth, and a pervasive sense of confusion. You start to doubt your memories, your decisions, your entire self. And this it's not an accident. It's the intended outcome. It makes you easier to control, easier to manipulate, because you've lost your anchor, your sense of independent thought and feeling. So, how do we protect ourselves? It starts with an inner radar, recognizing those subtle shifts. A key red flag is inconsistency, when words don't match actions or stories change. Manipulators present different faces to different people, or even to you on different days. This lack of congruence is a huge warning. Don't dismiss it.
That's so important, Sophia. Trust your gut. That little, prickle in the back of your neck when something just doesn't feel right. Even if you don't fully understand the exact reason they are making you feel uneasy, we've all felt that, haven't we? We often dismiss it, wanting to believe the best, but that feeling is your intuition screaming, "Pay attention."
Precisely. That prickle is your subconscious alerting you. Another sign is emotional fatigue, if interactions consistently leave you drained, confused, or anxious. Also, watch for rapid emotional intimacy, someone pushing for deep connection too fast. It's a common tactic to gain trust before exploitation. Feels great at first, but it's a trap. All right, so once you start recognizing these patterns, the next critical step is to set what I call unbreakable boundaries. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about clear, firm communication of your limits. It requires a lot of self-awareness and courage, actually. And then articulate those boundaries clearly. You don't need to justify them. You just need to state them.
Oh, that's huge, Sophia. So many people, myself included sometimes, find it so hard to just say no or that's not okay. We worry about hurting feelings or, causing conflict, but protecting your own peace, that's so important. So, what would that even sound like in a real conversation? If someone tries to gaslight you about something you know happened.
A good script could be, I understand that's your perception, but my experience was X, and I'm sticking to that. Or if they try to make you feel guilty, I hear you're upset, but I've made my decision. The key is not to engage in a debate about reality, because that's where they thrive. You're just stating your truth and holding your ground. Also, limit your exposure to them. If direct confrontation isn't safe or possible, reduce contact. It's about protecting your energy and your mental space, Ultimately, Isabella, the breakthrough moment, the real turning point, is when you fully grasp that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their own internal landscape and their need for control. You are not responsible for their emotional regulation or their happiness. And understanding that fact, that it's not your fault, is immensely liberating. It allows you to shift from a reactive state to a proactive one, where you're making choices for your own well-being.
Yes, and that means actually giving yourself permission to step away, right? To say, this isn't healthy for me. It's about prioritizing your own peace and mental health, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. It's okay to put yourself first. You're not being selfish, you're being self-preservative. And sometimes, that means creating real distance or even ending relationships that are just toxic. It's hard, but it's essential.
Absolutely. Reclaiming your power means trusting your inner radar, consistently reinforcing your boundaries, and understanding that you have the right to disengage from situations that diminish you. Seek support from trusted friends, family, or even a professional if you need to. You're not alone. This journey is about rediscovering your sense of self, your autonomy, and building a life where you're surrounded by genuine, reciprocal connections, not those built on manipulation. It's about choosing freedom. So, we've really covered quite a bit, Isabella. We started with how manipulators often target empathetic individuals, then moved into their tactics like gaslighting and guilt tripping, which are designed to slowly chip away at your self-worth. And we wrapped up with recognizing red flags, setting unbreakable boundaries, and that crucial step of reclaiming your power by truly understanding it's not your fault.
Yeah, Sophia, that's it, exactly. Recognizing their behavior as their issue, not a reflection of your own worth. truly is the absolute key to stepping into your freedom. This whole journey, really, it's about nurturing that authentic self, letting it shine.
Absolutely. If what we've discussed today resonated with you, please consider hitting like, sharing this episode, and subscribing to our podcast. Subscribing is a clear commitment to your personal growth, and it helps us continue to bring you valuable information.
We genuinely love to hear from you. Please suggest future topics below or share your favorite affirmation, maybe even a word that embodies freedom for you, along with a little butterfly emoji. We love those.
Thank you for joining us today and for allowing us to be a part of your path towards greater self-awareness and personal liberation. We truly value your trust and your presence here with us.